Alrighty, chat, let's get things underway. So on the right is Nathan, Bassa, Richard in the middle seat, and Brennan up the top seat. On the left is Torrin, Scott, and I don't believe I caught the name. But yes, this is at the finals. So if you're just tuning in, or if you played today's event and you just got home, this is the finals of the Team Trios event. We had 27 teams come in with 81 total players, and only 2 teams and 6 players remain. So it's super exciting here, and it's going to be the end of everything. Infinite bragging rights for at least another year after today's event. While the players are shuffling up, once again, I just want to give a huge shout out to Plenty of Games. Pog ran the event. All of their staff were incredibly helpful in keeping everything running and making sure the event itself was running really smoothly. Big shout outs to Maya and Jimbo, who are our judges today. They did a fantastic job, and as we close things out, I imagine they'll take a well needed break. Big shout out to Alec, who is helping me out all day as well. I believe he's at the pub at the moment, enjoying himself, which is probably for the best. Thank you to everyone who was on stream in terms of the interviewees. We had some Pog staff here, we had Trent here, we had Isaac here, and I think that was really cool in terms of running the event and making it an actual event in terms of the coverage side of things. And thank you if you've been watching the stream and hanging out. It's been really cool to run this. I haven't done coverage of a paper event in a while. I've definitely not run everything myself. So this is really cool. And there's some learnings for tomorrow. So hopefully that runs smoothly. But let's get into the game. So looks like we're starting things off with a Thundering Falls. And on the left, we've got a Black-Red land and a Lotus Petal. So this should be Welder versus some kind of combo deck if there's a Lotus Petal. Nathan has gone land into Mox Diamond, Ancient Tomb, One Ring. If the One Ring resolves, it's gonna be in play for a while, and it's a turn 2 One Ring, so there's a decent chance it resolves. This is pretty big. Now, in saying that, the One Ring is beatable. It's not easy, but it is definitely beatable here. What's the name of the player on the left? Opposite Bassa.
Adam Cooper.
Adam Cooper. Hey, Adam. Sorry about that. So Adam here looks like on black-red pile, possibly. Douthie Voidwalker. That's a big deal. Okay, so this could reduce what Bassa has access to. Yeah, it is Coops. But at the same time, I don't know that Nathan's deck in particular uses the graveyard beyond Welder, so it's entirely possible that, Painter's Servant plus Grindstone just ends the game. Playing a Pyrite Spellbomb and presumably using it to kill the Douthie Voidwalker here. And that is going to resolve. I believe Nathan has 1 colorless symbol left over from the Ancient Tomb. And is casting a Brainstorm. I believe he still has 1 colorless symbol, so see what the Brainstorm finds. Notably, really focusing on the end game here. Could have very easily cast the Brainstorm and not committed to Pyrite Spellbomb this turn, but fully leaning into the fact that the odds that Doughty Voidwalker comes back is not zero, and if it exiles the Brainstorm, he'll have fewer resources to use, and Koops will have a Brainstorm that he might have access to. And I believe Bassa still has a land drop here. So if he's found a shuffle, not Brainstorm locked. Following it up with a grindstone with the colorless impul here. Arid Mesa is going to shuffle the library for Brainstorm. And then a Welder. Okay. So, I mean, Bassa still has access to One Ring cards. He now has a Welder that's threatening to protect certain pieces. He's got a Grindstone in play, which could end the game pretty much immediately. Pretty unlikely to lose from this spot. I think Adam on the left would have to make a very high impact play this turn, but there's just quite a lot of bits and pieces that are working here. End of turn, gonna bolt the Welder, so it's one thing down. Doesn't technically have to deal with the Grindstone. Yet, anyway. Odds that a Rakdos deck deals with the One Ring, pretty close to zero here. I'm going to start with a Faithless Looting. Try and dig a bit deeper for something functional. I don't know if Adam has access to a reanimation package. That could help. If he has access to a reasonably large creature. But otherwise, I don't know if he's going to be able to deal with the One Ring. Could die to Painter's Servant. Could die to a few things. Firing off, what is that, an Inti, I think? Yeah, it looks like an Inti. Okay. Well, he's starting the clock. And Bass has taken 3 off the One Ring already. Did draw Minimo this turn off the One Ring activation, so could dig another 4 cards deeper, looking for Painter's Servant. If he finds it, I imagine the game is over on the spot. And I imagine he will go for it here. No, we're just going to transmute the One Ring and go for lethal. Makes sense. We found an answer. My cards are doing things. Painter 7 is in play, deck you. Thoughts, YN. Unless Adam has something weird, this is it. his entire library is going to be flipped face up, and he will die in his draw step. Is that what's happening? I think Nathan explaining what Painter's Stone does. And I assume either snuff out or not. And that's it. All right, so Bassa wins game 1. Unsurprising there, I would say. The matchup is probably even adjacent, but when you draw Ancient Tomb into the One Ring on turn 2, it's pretty hard to lose. You tend to just draw too many cards, and it's hard to lose the game when you draw a million cards. Player's gonna sideboard now. Let's see if I can get the results of the other games. All right. While players are preparing for game 2, I'll go see. I'll go see if I can find the results of the other games. So I will be right back. Alrighty, chat room. Looks like we're getting into game 2 here on this table. The middle seat is up a game in the right-hand side favor, and the last seat, which is Scott versus Brennan, are still in game 1. So Brennan, Richard, and Nathan are currently up 2 games out of a potential 6. Going into sideboarding, I would expect the red-black midrange deck to sideboard quite heavily here. Potentially things like Nullrod, potentially things like Moon Effects, if they're not main deck already. Bass's side, probably minimal in terms of sideboarding. I imagine maybe some Blue Blasts, maybe a Saga target or two, but probably quite minimal. So Adam has kept 7. Nathan is currently mulliganing. We can see a little glimpse of the middle table. Looks like a Badlands and a discard spell into Richard's Storm deck. Or maybe not a discard spell, maybe a probe, but kind of depends on if something gets taken. And we're away. Turn 1. That doesn't look like a Raucous Theater. Is that the red-black temple? It has to be a Raucous Theater, right? Ah, it looks a bit weird to me upside down. It is Raucous? Okay. I would hope so. Temple of Red Black, whatever it was called, cannot be playable. Bassa Bauble into Surveil Land. Hey, Jinx. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, that's theater? Okay. That makes sense. Getting some confirmation from everyone. So, crack the Bauble. Urborg Mana Crypt. Adam has spent 5 points on Mana Crypt. Hell yeah. And he's now spending 4 mana on Grief. It's pretty good. This is definitely not the way most people play turn 2 Grief. But this way leaves you with a 3-2. It has Menace, and Nathan's deck has very few creatures, so it's probably going to crack in 6 times easy. And sees Trinket Mage, Agatha's Soul Quadrant, Painter's Servant, and Imperial Recruiter. And some lands. So Recruiter can't get the other half of Painter's Servant, Painter's Stone, but Trinket Mage can. If you take Painter's Servant, he's left with Recruiter, Trinket Mage, Agatha's Soul Quadrant, which is probably fine. Because the issue is, if you don't take Painter's Servant, you're incentivized to take Trinket Mage, because that can go get Grindstone. And unless your hand is heavily reactive and can deal with Painter's Stone, which is possible, you still need to do something. And attacking for 3 isn't going to be good enough. So if you take Painter's Servant, Nathan's development towards a combo kill is much slower, gives you more turns with your Crypt to generate a mana advantage, gives you more time with your Grief to get chip damage in. We'll see what he's got, and we'll see what he takes here. I think it's between Painter's Servant and Agathas. I don't think it's ever Recruiter or Trinket Mage here. Really deliberating about this choice. It's also possible we haven't snapped off the servant because we might draw an answer to it, but we don't have one at the moment. And it could be a bit of a mathematical choice. Ends up taking the Painter Servant. I think that's going to be correct 60 to 80% of the time. Taking Agathas is also presumably fine in some spots if you plan on using a graveyard, but I don't think you're ever taking anything else. And Nathan going to fire off the City of Traders and Trinket Mage here. Curious to see what he gets with Trinket Mage. If he gets Seed of the Synod or Great Furnace, he's threatening to lose his city. But I don't think he can operate off just City plus Archive. He's thinking about getting LED. He is getting LED. So Recruiter is getting Bomberman? That has to be it, right? It's planning on playing LED, playing Recruiter, trigger on the stack, crack LED, go get Bomberman, make infinite mana. And then what? And then you just have infinite mana. That doesn't do anything. Unless he's found some pace. Infinite mana doesn't do anything in this spot yet. You can bauble yourself heaps. I mean, yeah. But that doesn't draw you the cards immediately. But it is probably good enough. Yeah, I mean, I guess you draw your deck. What? Like 8 cards. But then if you have Lodestone Bauble, you can draw them out. I don't believe we've seen Lodestone Bauble. What does LED do? So LED is Lion's Eye Diamond. It is a 0 mana artifact, and it says sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond, discard your hand, make 3 mana of any one color. So it's Black Lotus, but you discard your hand. In the case of Bomberman, which is Aureox Salvages, it has the ability 1 and a white, return target artifact in your graveyard that costs 1 or less to your hand. So you can keep spending 2 white mana to buy back LED to make 3 white mana until eventually you have infinite white mana. You can then turn that into infinite of every color except colorless. And presuming you have anything in the graveyard that you can buy outside of LED that wins the game. So Pyrite Spellbomb is probably the most classic one. You could retrofitter and make infinite everything. Going back to the actual game state, it looks like Grief is connected alongside a Barraglyph? Oh, Reckless Stormseeker Barraglyph, and then Barraglyph was given haste with Stormseeker, which then meant Trinket Mage chumped the Barraglyph to stop card draw, and Nathan is committing to this. He's tapped his city, he's played a Bloodstained Mire, and the city is blown up. We're putting an LED on the stack, so we have 4 mana plus an LED. If he has to Imperial Recruiter to get Aureox Salvages, it's not going to do it. He's not going to have enough mana to get started. So that's not the line. It could just be make 2 colorless, fetch a red land, play a Fable, but I think that's unlikely. I don't think you can get anything with Stoneforge that matters here, because you'll have 2 mana plus the 3 from the LED, so you can't get like Cauldron and play that. And even if you did, it probably wouldn't do that much. If you had a creature in play, you could get the salvages into the graveyard with the LED and use the Agatha Soul Quadrant to put a 1/1 counter on a creature to give it salvages text, which is, again, incredibly mana intensive, but it does mean you don't have to spend the 4 mana on the salvages, which saves you 2 mana, because you still have to play the Soul Quadrant, but you also need a creature in play. Recruiter, hold priority with the trigger on the stack, crack LED, so 3 mana. Oh, we're just getting salvages and passing. Oh. We're just gonna try to get there next turn? I mean, I guess that's reasonable. Recruiter lets you block the Baragov. It doesn't win the game now, but it sometimes wins the game next turn. I don't know if he discarded anything that gets there. I think he still currently has infinite mana plus nothing. I mean, a bauble, and he can draw cards, but he can still just keep getting attacked by Baragov. Day Knight represented by an Infinity token. There's a judge there. Jimbo's there watching. It's Day Knight. They'll be fine. It's Highlander. People play their spells. I think the odds that it stays day forever are incredibly high. Adam gonna roll for Mana Crypt. Almost certainly meaningless unless he were to actually just die from 0. 2 cards in hand, go into 3. Baragov is gonna get chumped here. Presumably. So it's salvages plus 2 mana plus LED and hope. We have reports back. Brennan is up a game and Richard has won the middle match. So, in terms of the team score, it is 1-0. Brennan is a game win away from ending the match, as is Bassa. So it's 1-0 in the top table, 2-0 win, 1-0 in the bottom table. So, I mean, if Adam draws something meaningful, it would need to either interact with the graveyard, interact with Auriok salvages, or present lethal. If we can get the Auriok salvages to block and die inside of combat, that also works. Blood Moon gets there, presuming that Bassa has not got a basic planes on top of his deck. And I doubt he has a basic planes in the deck, period. So Blood Moon probably gets there. I mean, this is about as face-up as you can get from Bassa's side. He has Auriok Savages in play. He has LED in graveyard. He has 2 mana, one of which is white, and 0 cards in hand. This is about as all in as you can get. Adam has 3 cards in hand, access to a trillion mana with a Mana Crypt and a City of Traders, and is putting... I have no idea what that card is. I think it's Death Greeter's champion to give double strike. That'll work. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because this forces the block, right? I'm pretty sure Death Greeter's champion ends the game here. 4, 8, 10. Jumps the Barry, blocks the Reckless Stormseeker. Maybe not lethal? Maybe lethal with like a bolt in hand? Basso presumably not taking lethal inside of combat with this block, which will put him to some amount, probably 2 at a guess, maybe 1. Baragoth will gain 1 billion life, which will again be relatively meaningless. And Auroch Salvages gets to block a 2/3, which means it gets to live. Dr. V, sorry for the dumb question. How does Welder win? The Welder deck can win in a bunch of different ways. So with Painter's Servant and Grindstone, you can deck your opponent. With Welder plus very large artifacts like Cauldron Complete, you can simply overwhelm your opponent with pressure. With Auroch Salvages and Lion's Eye Diamond, you can make infinite mana and infinite rebuys of an artifact that costs 1 or less and is in your graveyard or in your hand. And with infinite mana, it's probably going to be Pyrite Spellbomb most of the time, if you have the ability to do so. I mean, I imagine he's going to go for it. And based off the players laughing here and joking around, I imagine it's good. If this sticks, we get infinite mana of every color. The unfortunate issue is what happens after that. We can play Bauble, we can play infinite Baubles and draw as many cards as we like, but they will all be in Adam's upkeep. What did he draw? What is that? I don't think there's a way out of this. Certainly not in Graveyard yet. The thing with the Auroch Salvage's Lion's Eye Diamond combo is that it makes infinite mana at sorcery speed. And it requires you to be hellbent during the process. It is a very unintuitive combo to win the game with. Alright, we're putting a bunch of Bauble triggers on the stack. And presumably drawing a bunch of cards in Adam's upkeep and hoping to win the game, but then what? Like, Mishra's Bauble can draw your library, but you'll be tapped out. Your opponent will just kill you. Like, this doesn't get there. This isn't even meaningful. There is no way Bassa survives this combat, right? Like, I don't have exact life totals, but I mean, he took like 12 last turn. So he's got to be dead to the next combat. There are definitely some 0-cost spells that he can draw into with Bauble. At instant speed, notably. So Fury Red card does not work. Based off the colors that Bassa is, I think Solitude is incredibly unlikely. So it's probably draw a bunch of cards down to 2 cards in library, maybe 1 in library, and then use maybe Pyro red card, Force blue card, Misstep or something. It's possible he can buy a turn. Oh, that's interesting. What he can do is crack the LED for 3 floating mana with all the bauble draws. So even though we're in Adam's upkeep, he has access to 4 mana. How does he win the game with 4 mana at instant speed with 2 cards in library? How's he winning? What's the improvised search for artifact card? Blue, 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 X. So not on the table. He set aside a bolt, and that's to kill Grief. And then what? I saw a Fury in there. Teferi's Protection. That would do it. I believe that did not get there. And we're going to game 3 here. Yeah. Nathan had 4 mana and about 40 cards in hand, but it was all in his opponent's upkeep. So they're going to game 3.
Yep.
Brennan in the top seat.
I'll get back to you on that. But that particular turn, messages from the floor. So Bassa was unable to win. He identified that. And then he thought he had to think long and hard about what was in his deck. And he could make an infinite mana of any color and all that, but it would involve discarding the funky border thing and then drawing a bajillion cards. So I think you lost that one?
Yeah. But I mean, we worked all of that.
Yeah. You did. I was got caught in between there.
Yeah. We were trying to work out if he had any outs.
It was a fun puzzle where he didn't quite get there, but it was like, it was me. Yeah. But yeah. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Thanks, Alec. Can we get a big shout out from chat to Alec? Alec's been helping me out all day of his own volition. I will pay him, but he definitely did not show up today to play. He showed up to hang out, and I have sequestered him and made him work all day. So huge shout out to Alec. Massive props. He's put in a lot of work. But yeah, confirmation, Nathan did not get there, and these players are suiting up for a game 3. Whether or not the other match between Scott and Brennan is still going, are they
Brennan and
Scott?
Scott, that's his name. Sorry. Brennan and Scott going game 3, right?
Okay, Brennan and Scott are going to game 3, and Adam and Nathan are going to game 3. So in the middle seat, Richard has one match for the team on the right, Richard, Bassa, and Brennan. And now if either Brennan or Bassa closes out their game, they will win today's event. If Adam and Scott both get there, then Scott, Adam, and Torrin will win. It's as simple as that. Alec is the bestest and longest of boys. That is incredibly true. We are very, very grateful for how long... I'm not going to finish that thought. That was really weird. So Bassa gets the play now. And I believe Brennan won game 1, so he'll have the play in the other match. Richard has won his match in the middle seat and is done for the day. He might opt to help out Bassa and Brennan in their matches. However, given the context of this team and all 3 players playing combo decks that are reasonably convoluted, I imagine Richard is pretty checked out here, which I think is very, very reasonable. Players are preparing for game 3. Let's see what we've got. Looks like I saw an Ancient Tomb and a Saga, maybe? Or is that a flip card? Ancient Tomb, Soul Cauldron, go. Okay. This will stop Grief Reanimate shenanigans here. Or Reanimation shenanigans, period. Assuming this sticks. And I believe that is some of Adam's more potent draws. Obviously, the most potent card in his opener would be Mana Crypt, and if he's got that, this game's going to go very differently. So Blood Crypt's going to shock in. Could be a discard spell. Could be a threat. What have we got here? And it's a Duress. Duress is going to see Rip Apart, which I'm guessing is the only legal target based off the way Basser is put in the graveyard. Saga, Recruiter, Arena of Glory, and what is that? Is that a Plains? I have no idea what the card on the bottom is. Oh, it's an Ancient Den. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, there's no way he's playing a Plains in this deck. Ancient Den makes sense. I believe it. Mana Crypt Unlicensed Hearst is the follow-up to Duress. So both players have accelerated past turn 1 mana. We have 2 mana spent on the right-hand side and 3 mana spent on the left-hand side, which is definitely going to speed up the game. It's just a matter of how important that is. So Nathan opting for Saga here is going to have the ability to activate it moving forward. Adam, end of turn, activating Hearse on the Rip Apart, which is going to get eaten by Soul Cauldron, so has the ability to grow the Hearse this turn, but would need to A, put cards in his own graveyard, and then B, eat them. So pretty unlikely this Hearse is going to grow for a while here. In saying that, the Agatha Soul Cauldron isn't doing much either. Both players just playing without a graveyard for the foreseeable future. Swamp Cycle with Troll. That could be big. Activating Soul Cauldron on the Rip Apart to shrink the Hearse could give Adam the window to just make a 6/5. It's also possible that this is bait, and Nathan wants Adam to put things into play and tap out, but I mean, what's the point here? Okay, it's Swamp Cycle for Badlands. Play Badlands, say go. Adam, unable to do anything with 3 mana. Hearse and Agatha's both active now. Adam's graveyard has only a troll in it, I would assume. See if we can capture that. Lovely. Ambassador Saga goes to 2, and he drew a Mopal, so Mox Opal, Seed of the Synod, Agatha's, so he has access to way more mana than he did last turn. Last turn was Ancient Tomb plus Saga plus nothing. What is that? End of turn. Is that Unmarked Grave? No, it's some kind of flash creature. Oh, I think it's Opposition Agent. Okay. Opposition Agent's pretty big. So Opposition Agent checks the Saga when it cracks here. It also gives Adam a threat, although very unlikely that it's attacking into Saga. I don't like Nathan's odds here. I think Bass is in a pretty big squeeze. He can't use his graveyard. He can't search his library. Adam has access to a decent amount of mana. Playing a Headliner Scarlet. I don't know how this interacts against a Saga token here. Is it creatures can't block this turn, or each creature in play doesn't get the ability to block this turn? I think he can't block, right? Yeah, okay. So he's taking 6, and he's going to presumably make a Saga token. Now, does Bassa have the ability to clear this Opposition Agent before his Saga goes off? If he doesn't, then there's a few different things that can happen depending on what Bassa's left in his deck. It's unlikely that he's left something that Adam can get that will just end the game for him. But it is pretty likely that, Opposition Agent will get something decently bad here. In saying that, he has 2 5/5s. That is a lot of 5/5s. Should we be revealing our hand? Yes. Yes. And I believe Bassa confirmed that with Jim the judge. Likely just a little unsure of what was happening there. So we're in Bassa's first main phase. If it's an Ancient Den, he can play it and make 6/6s. Adam's had a Mana Crypt, and I believe he's lost at least 1 flip. So potentially a lot of damage that can come through. I can't think of anything he can get that's meaningful. He's taking Grindstone out. I think that's fine. The fact that there's no Painter Servant in play means that Grindstone is actually just Grindstone. Den attack you for 6. And then say go by the looks of it. Mana Crypt's gonna flip. Takes another 3. So Adam has lost at least 2 Mana Crypt flips. He's taken 6, maybe 5 damage that turn. So he's probably on about 7, I would say. Has a Hearse and an Opposition Agent. And is, at the moment, looking like he's just going to lose to Urza's Saga. Can he do anything about that? I think he's missed the Headliner Scarlet trigger. Because it's an upkeep, right? and you need to put it on the stack before you roll for Mana Crypt, because if Mana Crypt resolves... Oh, I guess you could maybe finagle it so Headliner Scarlet is underneath Mana Crypt. But I believe he's drawn for turn. And if he's drawn for turn, then Headline is getting missed, and that's kind of how it is. I would say it's probably not going to be hyper relevant. Like, he gets one extra crack at something, but what is he looking for here? Brotherhood's in. Big deal. Presumably choosing artifacts. We'll blow up Mox Opal, Seed of the Synod, Agatha Soulhood, and which will... Oh, right. It doesn't specify non-creatures. Okay, in that case, no Saga tokens. Brotherhood's End probably gonna be it then. Boy, howdy. I can't imagine Bassa has any outs here, right? Bassa being cheeky and cracking a fetch into opposition agent because he's dead. Okay, so Adam wins this match, which puts the record at 1-1. I'm not 100% sure if it's over. I haven't got reports from the front yet. I'm gonna go check and see what the result of the match is, if there is one. So I'm gonna mute myself and turn the mic off. Stay tuned. I'll make sure that we find out who wins today, and we're gonna do some winner interviews and whatnot. But I believe that they're currently playing game 3. Looks like Alec is gonna move the camera. Anyway, I'll go check it out, and I will be right back. Report back from the front is that the last match is still going. However, the players do not want to be on feature, which is very, very reasonable. What that means is we're going to be right back, and I will happily report who wins, and we'll have some interviews. But for now, just stay tuned. It'll be a couple of minutes, and then we'll see what happens. And we have a winner. I'm happy to congratulate the team of Brennan Crawford, Richard Owen, and Nathan Bassa as the winner of Team Trios at Plenty of Games. We had 27 teams today that battled it out, 81 people, and 3 of them are going home with a Savannah. I'm going to attempt to get them into the room for an interview soon. They're still currently packing up, so we'll give them some time. But commiserations and well played to Scott, Torrin, and Adam. Getting to the finals is a great effort, and very well played there. Looks like we've got Richard coming in. Mike's live. You can come and sit down. Hi everyone, Volty here. Today's video was brought to you with the lovely help of my patrons and donors, who you can see up here on screen. If you would like to financially support the content, there's links down below, and you can make sure that if you're able to and you want to help support the channel, that you can do so. You'll also get your name visible up here on screen as well, which is very cool. If you are watching this on YouTube, please consider subscribing. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps out the channel a ton. And if you're watching this on Twitch, please consider clicking that follow button as well. The bell will let you be notified of when streams are going live. But otherwise, that's it from me. I'll catch you all next time.